You're watching a segment of The Splash, Greater West Bloomfield's news magazine show.
Welcome back to The Splash. I'm Maddie Mustion. This week, I'm joined by Scott Long, Assistant Superintendent for Learning Services for the West Bloomfield School District. How are you doing today, Scott?
I'm doing great, Maddie. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I want to talk a little bit about what your job entails for our viewers here.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm the Assistant Superintendent for Learning Services, and the simplest way to describe that is I supervise and I'm responsible for the implementation of curriculum and the design of curriculum. So basically what learning looks like in our classrooms from building to building, at the elementary level, the middle school level, and at the high school level. And so the way in which I support that is we have a learning services team of about 6 members. There are curriculum consultants in different content areas, and I also support and work with principals in the work they do on a daily basis to support teachers so that great learning happens in the classroom.
And obviously this school year is looking a little bit different than last year, thankfully. Will you tell us a little bit about what the difference in curriculum looks like, if it's different at all with the COVID restrictions?
I think thankfully is the key word when you said that learning looks differently, because we are like back into full days of learning, which is super exciting. When we think about where we were at this time last year, we were super excited to be in person, but we were in person for half the day. So what that meant was our elementary and middle school kids would come in for half of the day, and then they would go home, and then the next group of middle school and elementary kids would come in for half of the day. And the reason that we did that was to ensure 6 feet of social distancing, that we weren't having lunches in the building, just basically following all the protocols to a T that we experienced last year. This year, some of those protocols have loosened up a little bit. There's different guidelines from the Oakland County Health Department and from the CDC. And one of the significant differences is basically the distance between kids. Now it's encouraged to have 3 feet or more of distance. With lunch, the same thing, 3 feet or more distance. So all of our kids are in the building all at the same time for an entire full day of instruction, which is absolutely amazing. They are getting to go to lunch. We're following the protocols with that. They're going outside for recess. Our kids are wearing masks when they're in the building. So there's that protocol that's in place as well. But yeah, I was just at Chico Elementary today, and a lot of those kids I knew from my time as a principal at Doherty Elementary, and they just were so excited to be in the building and to come in from lunch and recess, and then to roll right back into learning as opposed to only being there for 3 hours. So it's a significant difference. And I think for all of us, I think one of the things that really put it in perspective is just to be grateful for the time that we have when we are in person, the time that we have with kids. I think there probably was a time before COVID where kids might have had to complain when they had to go to school on a snow day when they should have had a snow day called. And I don't think you're going to see a lot of that complaining, because it's just a pleasure and an opportunity to be able to come to school every single day.
That's awesome. And I was curious too, what type of planning and work goes into, planning curriculum? Obviously, it's going to differ from middle school to high schoolers. But, is that something that takes years in advance to kind of plan out, or do you go day by day and kind of tweak things?
That's a great question. I think you look at it in a lot of different angles and oscillate. So you want to look at a long-term 3 to 5 year vision of where you want to be in terms of what you want your learners to accomplish. And then you want to break that down into quarters. What are we going to accomplish, and how are we going to move forward with our curriculum work, quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4? How is all that work going to get us to our 3 to 5 year vision? So it is a very intensive long-term plan, and it's also short-term, and making sure that teachers have what they need at the ground level to be successful with implementing that curriculum. So it's a lot of day-to-day support, but it's also a lot of long-term forecasting and planning as well.
And as your students are returning to school full-time, what is one thing that you're excited for the school year?
Kids get to be kids and play and interact with each other. And if anything, I think one of the things we learned during our time away when we were forced to be remote is, I think one thing that there was an uptick in terms of kids being happy, having, social emotional struggles. And I think just being back around people for long sustained periods of time is a healthy thing for all of us, I think adults included. Kids have the opportunity now at the elementary level to go outside and play and to be kids. Our high school students had the chance to go to lunch and talk with their friends. Those social aspects, you can't they're a very important facet of what we do in public school, and it can't be lost on anybody, because when we educate students, we're educating them to be well-rounded individuals and balanced individuals, and learning is an important piece, and achieving high, standards and proficiency in those standards is very important. But along with that, it takes people to feel safe and emotionally secure and happy to be able to do that important work of learning. So that's what I'm most forward to what I'm looking forward to throughout the year is just seeing smiles on kids' faces and seeing them interact and just a chance to be kids.
Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us, Scott.
Thanks, Maddie.
Thanks for watching this segment of The Splash. To watch the entire show or other segments, catch us on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. Or look us up online at thesplash.tv and listen to us every week on 89.3 WBLD, the all-new Lakes FM.